Hi everybody, my name is Sally Tedstone and I'm one of the infant feeding specialists here at the RUH. I really hope that you're finding this little video helpful for you. Today's a really big day, we're going home with your baby and we really want that to go well for you. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about feeding, and it's just really important, whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding or doing a bit of both, that you recognise how your baby's getting enough milk. We want you to be confident about recognising your baby's feeding cues. So those are the little signs your baby will show to tell you that your baby's ready for a feed. So we don't really want you to wait for your baby to cry. That's the last sign they'll make. And that way, then you'll have lots and lots of feeds in 24 hours, which is what we want. A normal number of feeds after the first, say after 12 hours of age, is between 10 to 12 times in 24 hours. So that's pretty full on, but that's normal, and it'll mean that your breasts get all the right messages to make milk and you'll end up with a really good milk supply. If you're breastfeeding, we really want to make sure that before you go home you're happy with the latch, or how your baby can take a mouthful of your boob. Really wanting to make sure that you're confident that your baby's got a nice deep amount of breast tissue in his or her mouth, and that's comfy for you, and that you know yourself that you can tell that's going well. So please talk to your midwife or your midwifery support worker and make sure that you chat about that and make sure that you get all the information you need. So over the next few days, once you're home, probably the question that will worry you most, and the question we get asked most, is how do I know my baby's getting enough milk? And this is just such an important question, and babies who don't quite drink enough milk, that's the most likely reason you and your baby would end up back in hospital. So it's a really important thing, and a really important question to be thinking about. So in your notes there's a little bit of information on this. So on page 44 you can have a little look at these when you get back to your room. There's like a little checklist of questions to ask yourself to check your baby's feeding well, and there's also a little bit of information on the left hand side about the wheeze and poos, because the wheeze and poos are the key way, apart from when we weigh the baby, that we find out that your baby's getting enough. And how your baby poos changes over the next few days. So you'll have probably done a meconium nappy. That's quite hard work when it's your first baby, and then the poo changes and then becomes a really soft yellowy poo. By somewhere between day 3 and day 5 you get that yellow poo, and we like to see at least 2 poos a day, and the poos should be at least a £2 coin size, and most babies do loads more poos than that, but that's your minimum. And then with the weeing, now that's a little bit complicated, because if you're day 1 or day 2, your baby might only do 1 wee a day on day 1 and 2 wees a day on day 2, and that builds up every day. So day 3, 3 wees, day 4, 4 wees, up to day 6. Then after that we just look for at least 6 wees in the 24-hour period, and over time you'll be able to really feel your baby's nappies getting heavier as those wees get bigger. So keeping an eye on the wees and poos is so important, and if you're at all concerned about any of that, then please let your midwife know. And you don't need to struggle to remember any of that, because it's in your notes, and also on the Real Baby Milk leaflet that we really encourage you to have a look at. There's some really cool pictures when you can see the colours of the poo, so that if you're thinking, oh my god, is this the right colour, you can have a little look at that. I also wanted to talk to you about skin contact, because we really find this a really helpful tool to encourage life to be good and relaxed for you and your baby over these early days, and it also helps with feeding. So skin contact, you'll have probably had that after the birth with your baby, and it's so nice because it releases the hormone called oxytocin, which is a hormone that calms your baby after the stressful birth, and also you release oxytocin, which calms your baby, and some people call that the love hormone, because it also helps you to bond with your baby. And it also helps, the oxytocin also helps your milk to flow. So when your baby feeds at the breast, that gives your breast make messages, and the oxytocin that flows when you hold your baby really close to you, or even just keep your baby really close to you, sort of next to your bed, that helps you to feel good and relax, but also helps your milk to flow. So keeping your baby close, keeping your baby in skin contact makes life happy and calm, and it also helps your feeding. So just do it loads. And then just the final thing that I wanted to talk to you about before you go home is about the information and resources and extra support that there is available for you. So really don't feel like you're on your own. So we really love the Real Baby Milk leaflet that was written by a group of mums who are peer supporters, and it's such a fantastic resource that's good for now when your baby is new, but also tells you stuff about what's going to happen as your baby gets older. So it's fab, and that is available online, and the QR code that gives you the link to that is on the ward on Mary Ward. As you walk down the corridor on the left hand side, there's information about that, but it might well be that you've already got that on your phone because your community midwife has talked to you about that already. But if you haven't got it, have a look. And then another good place for information is the Maternity Voices Partnership Padlet. That's a little bit of funny mouthful. Again, the link is on the notice board, and that's a fantastic place because it's got lots of resources that are all about feeding your baby. So have a look at that. That's a good thing. And then also we have a really wonderful group of breastfeeding peer supporters that have a Facebook page, and it's a really nice supportive Facebook page. You have to sort of agreeing to a few rules, being kind to one another and stuff as you join, and then it's great because you can just read what other people have asked, or ask your own questions, and it also links you in with the support that's available in your community. So there's a Zoom sort of like a meeting as well once a week, but then they'll tell you all about the local groups in your area, and so lots of mums have found that really a fantastic place to make connections with people and just ask all those silly questions that you feel that you want to ask. So that's good as well. And the link to that is on the notice board, and it's also on the back of every door. Also on the back of every door on Mary Ward is a little message from our lovely peer supporters who you might well have bumped into while you've been here on Mary Ward. They wear a pink t-shirt. And it tells you about what's going to happen on the second night your baby's alive. So that's often the first night that you're at home, and it just kind of gives you a little bit of a warning that your baby might have been a little bit sleepy in its first 24 hours on Mary Ward, and you might have thought, well, I've got one of those good babies that likes to sleep. Usually on that second night they don't sleep, and that is completely normal, and you don't need to worry, and you just feed your baby, and then you'll end up with a fantastic milk supply, and everything will get better really soon. So the peer supporters just really want to send you that reassuring message. So if you've not read it already, have a look. Just wanted to mention about those formula feeding mums and dads. So if that's what you're doing, make sure that you've had a good chat to your midwife or your midwifery support worker, making sure that you've got the most up-to-date information about sterilising your bottles, about making the formula as safely as possible, and about feeding responsively. So there's quite a lot of information now, new information about how to feed your baby with a bottle in a really nice, gentle way. So ask them about that and they'll chat to you through that. And if you're one of the breastfeeding mums that for some reason your baby's needed a little bit of formula or is having some of your breast milk in a bottle, then also make sure the staff have talked to you about the responsive bottle feeding, because that's really great information and will make life easier for you and your baby. Cool. So just want to wish you all the best luck in the world when you go home with your baby. Enjoy.